What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my Week 5 predictions for the 2021 NFL season. I am 41-23, so we're nearing twice as many correct as wrong, and I expect to hit that goal this week. And I'm feeling pretty confident about some of these picks. So if you want to stay tuned for all of these weekly predictions, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and always comment on every video. What are your predictions? Will your favorite team win or will they not? Also, I've got a special guest coming on the channel soon to do a few videos. Just to give a hint, we're going to be doing some positional rankings of college football for next year's draft. I got a few, more than a few guys. I actually have around 275 prospects right now. And this guy, who will remain unnamed at the time, has a bit more than that, as it's his job. But without further ado, let's get into Week 5 predictions. And starting off with Thursday Night Football, this is going to be a good one. Already messing up. Rams coming off of a loss against the Cardinals, the only undefeated team left in the NFL. I thought the Rams would take that one, and they didn't. And so, Matt Stafford was a little underwhelming in that game. The Chargers, they've been great. Kyler Murray, as of right now, in my opinion, is the MVP. Regardless of that, the Rams have still been great. Last week, I think, as a fluke. Now you're going into another division game. This time, not in your home stadium. You're playing it in Seattle. And, this is, like I said, it's going to be a great game. But I just think at the end of the day, the Rams match up better on really both sides. I think their offense is just far too much for the Seahawks to handle. And the Seahawks offense is great. But I think the Rams are one of the few teams in the NFL that could actually hold them somewhat under wraps. And so I have the Rams winning this one 29-21. But this is going to be a great Thursday night football game after getting some kind of lackluster ones for the last few weeks. Then the Jets at the Falcons, and this is my betting game of the week. Falcons are favored by 4.5 points, and I just think if there's a game to bet on this week, I would personally put it on this one. I'm not super confident in it as I was the Colts Dolphins last week, which if you bet on that one because of me, you probably didn't. But if you did, good, go spend your money. But yeah, the Jets and Falcons, though. I mean, the Jets coming off a really surprising win against the Titans. I picked the Titans to win, and the Jets just, they played good. I mean, Zach Wilson legitimately played good after playing really poorly the last few weeks. Corey Davis finally, showed out. The offensive line looked much better than normal. And of course, the Titans defense is nothing special, but they're not that bad. And so, the fact that they did look good, and their defense especially was great. I don't even know if they had Marcus May, and so they were actually really good. And they ended up winning that game in a very close one. And I think they can ride that momentum. I was a bit higher than most people on the Jets coming into the season. I had them at 6-11. And I had predicted them to start off 0-3. And I predicted them to start off 0-4, but I always thought that they would get going at a time, and maybe it comes a little bit early. I don't think the Falcons are that deadly a team. If their defense can play like that again against the Falcons, their offense will be slow enough for, the Jets to be able to take advantage of a really, really poor Falcons defense. And I think the Jets can pull this one out. They don't quite cover, they don't cover at all because they're not favored. But either way, it's a 3-point game here. And so if there was a betting game, I would take this one just because I feel like the Jets can very well ride that momentum, and 4.5 is a bit of a decent line. Falcons have been really disappointing this year. Not much else to say about them. But I do have the Jets pulling it out 20-17. Then the Patriots going to the Texans. And this one was pretty easy for me. I don't know if they'll necessarily beat them as bad as the Bills did, but I do expect them to win this game. There's absolutely no reason that they should lose it. 2 1-3 teams. I swear to God, if the Patriots have a worse record than the Texans, you might need to potentially looking into, is Bill Belichick maybe a little past his prime without Tom Brady? there's no denying Bill Belichick is a great coach. He is the greatest head coach of all time. But I mean, starting off 1-4, especially when you're playing teams like the Texans and Dolphins and losing to them, after this roster was supposed to be so revamped, and I get it, like they have a rookie quarterback and stuff, but still, you should not be losing to the Texans. So those thoughts at least have to come into your head if you do lose this game. Either way, I don't have them losing this game. Maybe not winning it as convincingly. I mean, they looked good against Tampa Bay last week, but at the same time, there was a lot of reputation and emotion riding on that game. So I think they'll look about the same here and pull off the win this time to improve to 2-3. Then the Lions at the Vikings. And I mean, this one was pretty simple for me. The Lions definitely played, better, have played better recently. You know, obviously, nearly beating the Ravens was huge because it shows that, the Lions are not that bad of a team. They just either get really unlucky or they just are unable to finish games. And then in this week, I mean, it wasn't a big loss to the Bears, but I mean, it could have been better for sure. But either way, I don't have them winning this game. The Vikings should, be pretty easily handle the Lions here. They outmatch them in pretty much every single category except for like offensive line. Their defense simply just much better. Their offense easily much better. Jared Goff has looked so humiliating as that quarterback. And so honestly, I was thinking like maybe they pass on a quarterback because, you got Goff for a while more, but I don't know if you want to stick with Goff for any much longer than you have to because, yeah, I get it. Like he doesn't have the best weapons, but the offensive line's not bad and he's playing pretty horrendous. Either way, I have the Vikings winning this one. This should be a pretty easy one for them to cover. And if they lose this game, there is a real issue going on in Minnesota. And I could see Mike Zimmer potentially being fired very soon. Then the Eagles at the Panthers, and I thought maybe this might be a close game at first, but then when the news of Stephon Gilmore came out, like he's not playing, I get that, but I really looked at that and said, no, the Panthers are a good team. Like obviously the Stephon Gilmore is not going to impact the team this week, but the Panthers are a good team. Like I was not very high on them coming in just because I didn't think Sam Darnold was going to be very good. I didn't think the offensive line could hold up. I didn't think the defense would be that good. But I mean, in a few weeks, they're going to have Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson, who's been playing like an all-pro linebacker, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin, Stephon Gilmore, and once he gets back healthy, J.C. Horn in the playoffs if he does come back. That's just the defense. And then you look at the offense. I mean, disregarding Sam Darnold, they have Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I mean, this is a really good team. I think some of my wariness remains true. Sam Darnold, I do not think is good enough to lead them to a deep playoff run. I could see them making the playoffs, but I don't think he'll lead them to a playoff run. At most an appearance. And the offensive line definitely still needs work. But honestly, I could not tell you their GM off the top of my head, but he's really good. I should probably learn his name because he's a really good GM. The moves he's been making recently, besides potentially the Teddy Bridgewater trade, has been incredible. I mean, adding Stephon Gilmore for a 2023 sixth-round pick is just an incredible move by him. But disregarding all that, I mean, the Panthers just match up better with the Eagles. Ever since that week 1 win, I was like, okay, like calm down. Like, it's the Falcons. Like, let's see what they do. And they've been disappointing since that. I mean, they put up a good defensive showing with the 49ers week 2. Otherwise, they've just looked disappointing since. The Panthers are easily the better team to me. And at home, I think they pulled this one off pretty easily. Then the Saints at Washington. And I have the Saints winning this one. Saints are a team that I've just not been able to figure out for some reason, and Washington, a team that I've been perfect on my predictions. Yeah, I mean, Saints, they've been really hot and cold. That's mainly the reason I've had such trouble with them is because 1 week, Jameis Winston goes in and throws 5 touchdowns, and the next he throws like 1. They've just been so wishy-washy. Sean Payton's play calling has actually been very strange for as smart a guy as Sean Payton is. There's just there's two ways to look at this. Are the Saints going to show up or are they not going to show up? If they don't show up, I think Washington wins this one. You're at home. I mean, the offense has actually looked pretty good. Defense has unfortunately been highly disappointing, but I mean, I think the Saints on a bad day is worse than Washington on, any other day. But the Saints on a good day is easily a better team than Washington. So it really depends on what you think is going to happen. I think, I think Washington being at home makes it a little bit more difficult for the Saints. I mean, they really haven't played at home all season, anyways, but, still, you're not having that exact type of crowd. I think it makes it a little bit more even, but I'm going to take the Saints to have a pretty good day here. I'm going to keep predicting that Washington's defense shows up at some point because they got to, man. Like that defense is too talented with too good of a coach to not start playing well at a point. And I think that this could be the game. I still have the Saints winning it ultimately, but I do think it's going to be a close and good game. Then the Titans at the Jaguars, and we'll talk about Urban Meyer in a second. First off, with the Titans, Titans, you've been a little disappointing. Gotta say, Ryan Tannehill has just not been good. They haven't had A.J. Brown. Julio Jones has been basically a non-factor for the team, which is a little concerning. Offensive line has also been strangely not good. Derrick Henry started off cold and then really heated up. So, I mean, Derrick Henry is just doing Derrick Henry things. The defense, it's been so disappointing. And then that really disappoints me because I was a big fan of guys like, Jeffrey Simmons. I liked their linebacking group. I was pretty high on, Kevin Byard and who am I thinking of? Kevin Byard, Christian Fulton. I'm trying to think of their other corners right now. The guy that just came off from the Saints and the rookie, who I can't think of the name of right now, Virginia Tech rookie, but Caleb something, forgetting his name right now. But either way, I was a fan. Like I liked their defensive group that they had there. I thought Bud Dupree would be pretty solid, and they've just not been. I mean, actually, the weird thing is that Christian Fulton has actually been one of the best man coverage corners in the NFL this year, which cool for him. I was a big fan of him in the draft process, but the defense as a whole has been highly disappointing. Do I think it's disappointing enough to lose to the Jaguars? Absolutely not. I really wasn't thinking about it until that's good. No, not that's good sport. Not Brandon Perna. Marcus Whitman. That franchise guy. Really wasn't thinking about it until he brought it up yesterday. But he made some good sense. And I mean, Urban Meyer might be and probably is the worst head coach signing of all time. I mean, I was never a huge fan of it in the first place. Like, my kind of diagnosis of it at the time was I think he'll be solid, but like not good enough to really take them anywhere. I don't think anyone predicted it to be this bad. I mean, you take a college guy who, has had trouble moving up to that next level in the past and has those scandals, and now he's starting off 0-4. I mean, he's just done a horrible job with that team and the staff. You're hoping he doesn't ruin Trevor Lawrence right now with what he's doing. Obviously now the scandal going on. Like, there's people out there saying, every coach that's been to a strip club, now needs to be fired or whatever. The man's like 70 and he has a wife. Like, that's not a good look, I mean, it's not okay. He doesn't bring anything as a coach, to the Jaguars, like that franchise guy said. And I would not be surprised. My current prediction is that they fire him after they lose to the Titans this week and they upgrade Darrell Bevel to interim head coach. But I think the Jaguars get handled in this game. Titans are definitely going to be looking for a revenge game after losing to the Jets so embarrassingly. And the Jaguars are, the Jaguars division game. I think Titans pull this one off. Then the Dolphins at the Buccaneers, and I'm predicting this to be a shutout. Maybe a bit of a hot take, but the Dolphins have been tremendously bad this year. It amazes me that they even won that first game against the Patriots, who have also just, they've been disappointing. But the Dolphins have been horrible. Losing Tua does not help, although I'm not a fan of Tua in the first place. When I first had them going like 7-8 wins, people were calling me crazy. Like, there's no way the Dolphins get worse. Like, they're not regressing. And, yeah, they've been horrible. I like Brian Flores as a coach, but that offense is just, it's not ready to go anywhere. The offensive line is just god-awful. The defense was not nearly as good as people were making out to be. I think a big reason people were hyping up that defense so much was a lot because of Xavier Howard, who's not only not played as well as he did last year, but I think people were overreacting a bit to the fact that he had 10 picks, because picks are probably the most overrated stat you could look at with the defensive back. So all in all, like the Dolphins have just been really bad. And, you combine that with the Buccaneers, who have been really good, besides that Rams game, which I predicted because, the Buccaneers, they're a sloppy team, but like, they can beat a team like the Cowboys and be as sloppy as they did. They can certainly beat a team like the Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty good with both these teams so far, and I don't think a shutout is a hot take really. Um, and I think it's pretty obvious that the Buccaneers take this game in Tampa. Then the Packers going to the Bengals, and this is probably going to be a bit better of a game than the scoreboard shows. I do think the Bengals will be able to get going a bit against the Packers, but I think the Packers, Aaron Rodgers has been rolling. I was saying this after their week 1 loss, like, stop overreacting. Like, it's week 1, like, we'll see what happens. And Aaron Rodgers has looked fantastic since then. The offense has been humming. The defense has, besides a few poor performances from certain guys, losing Zadarius Smith did hurt. You know, they've been good. They just signed Jalen Smith, which is great for them. Or at least last time I looked, he was later. They were finalizing a deal, but that is a good pickup for them. I mean, Jalen Smith, sure, he's a bit older, but he is still a more than solid linebacker to add to that team. So, Packers, they're a great team. Bengals, they've been better than I thought. I wanted them to be better. Like, when I gave them a 3-14 prediction, like, I wish I could have given them higher, but I just didn't think the defense would be good, and I thought their offense would struggle. Their offense has had their struggles. I mean, the offensive line's still horrific, but the defense has been much better than I anticipated, and that's good for them. So I don't think they win this game, though. I think they drop down to 3-2, and Packers improve to 4-1. Then the Broncos at the Steelers, and this should be a good game as well. This is going to be a nice, low-scoring defensive game in Pittsburgh. Um, I apparently did not update the current and picks for the Steelers, but currently they are 1-3, and my picks for them would be 3-1. So yeah, no, 2-2. Sorry, 2-2. My picks for them are 2-2, and they're currently 1-3. The Broncos were disappointing last week for sure. It didn't help, that they had a lot of guys injured. Teddy Bridgewater going out with concussion, not helping obviously, but still they were disappointing last week. Do I think the Steelers are even close to as good a team as the Ravens? I don't. Um, I think this is a much easier game for Denver as long as they get Teddy back out there. Because if Drew Lock's playing, yeah, they're not winning. But if Teddy gets back out there, he is a guy that's safe with the ball, knows his checkdowns, which is something that will help you beating the Steelers, is taking those checkdowns and stuff. And even then, their defense has sadly been kind of disappointing since that week 1 victory. I mean, week 1, their defense looked like maybe one of the scariest defenses we'd ever seen, and then it just hasn't been that. So yeah, Broncos, I mean, in Pittsburgh, but I have them barely pulling this one out 16-13 in a good defensive battle. Then our first Sunday afternoon game, Bears at the Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one, 10-25. Raiders, I predicted them to lose against the Chargers. I thought, maybe there was a bit there that they were also a bit of a fake team like the Broncos, and it's kind of looked like that. They got beat pretty badly for those first 3 quarters. Chargers also just look great, but the Raiders did not look what they were the first 3 weeks, and even then, I mean, they barely pulled out against teams like the Dolphins and Ravens. Bears, on the other hand, I mean, they got to win against the Lions, but the Raiders are a much tougher team than the Lions. I'm having a tough time finding what people are so optimistic about Justin Fields. Like, I get that, he's made some smart plays and stuff, but overall, I mean, the dude's been just disappointing. I mean, you can't throw a single touchdown against the Lions defense. Like, really? He's just been disappointing to me. I was not a big fan of him going to Chicago, and he's just not played good. I think this Raiders defense is definitely much better than the Lions. So yeah, I have the Bears losing this one 10-25. Then the Browns to the Chargers. This could be my game of the week. I mean, that would be like the 3rd time I'd already given Chargers game of the week. It wasn't this week, but this is going to be a freaking good game. And it's tough too, because you have the Browns, who is a really, really good team that's kind of been struggling in some respects. And then you have the Chargers, who's like this really, really good team that I mean, yeah, it struggled with that one loss, but I mean, they just beat the Chiefs. They just beat the Raiders. Like they're hot right now. I mean, Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind. Austin Eckler was just fantastic. Mike Williams having a career year. The defense playing great. Derwin James healthy. Asante Samuel Jr. playing fantastic. All of that in LA. But I feel like the Browns win this one. It's sometimes you just get those predictions where it's like everything is in the Chargers' favor. There is nothing here to suggest that the Browns would win this game. And yet I'm just slightly leaning towards them. And so I think it could be a situation where it's like back and forth scoring until the last drive of the game. Baker drives downfield and gets the field goal for them. Either way, I mean, I could see this game going either way, certainly. I'm kind of feeling the Browns on this one. And so I am going to take the Browns 30-27. Then the Giants, the Cowboys. This should be a bit of a blowout. Cowboys handled their business the last few weeks. They've been great. I mean, the defense. If you want to talk about anything, it's the defense because I just did not expect them to be this good. Micah Parsons has been absolutely amazing in the absence of DeMarcus Lawrence, who isn't even playing right now. So beware. They cut Jalen Smith, but I'm sure they're planning to probably just move Parsons back to linebacker. The fact that he can play both so well is amazing. And if they really need, they can put him back at defensive end if needed, because I guess he's elite there as well. And then you have Trevon Diggs, who is all of a sudden like this all-pro amazing corner, 5 picks in the first 4 weeks. Yeah, the defense has been great. I mean, Dan Quinn's great defensive mind. I didn't think they'd be this good. Pair that with an elite offense. Cowboys are looking pretty darn good right now. I did not expect their defense to be this good, but they've been great. And so I have them pulling off a pretty solid win here in against the Giants, who have been very disappointing. Highly, highly surprised they beat the Saints, but that's kind of just what I meant with the Saints. Is like their cold days are bad, but their hot days are really good. So, Giants, I think, got a bit of a lucky win there. I wouldn't be expecting to do anything against the Cowboys personally. Then the Niners at the Cardinals. Another great game, another NFC West matchup. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one. I think they stay alive as the only undefeated team. They've been so incredible this year. The Niners have had their growing pains. Trey Lance, looking like a rookie. Jimmy Garoppolo looking pretty bad, dealing with injury. Deebo Samuel has been elite. I mean, that's the big storyline is that Deebo Samuel has been absolutely freakishly good this year. No, but the defense, it could be better than what it's been recently. So I think the Cardinals at home. Cliff Kingsbury, just improved his coaching so much. Kyler Murray currently the MVP. James Conner looks like a more than capable running back. Hopkins doing his thing. Christian Kirk maybe breaking out. The offensive line playing great, which, by the way, I was always high on that offensive line. I don't know why people were always talking about upgrading it so much. J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones playing great. Byron Murphy, one of the true breakout defensive players this year. Budda Baker playing great. Cardinals are just playing great right now, and I think they keep that streak alive and win against the Niners at home. And then our Sunday night game, our game of the week, is gonna be a good one. Bills at the Chiefs, and maybe a hot take. Probably a hot take. I'm taking the Bills. I've picked the Chiefs to win every single one of their games this year, and they've already let me down twice. And it would be pretty insane to see the Chiefs below 500 twice in a season, and by week 5 already losing more games than I projected. But the Bills are playing elite. The Chiefs are not. I think their offenses are actually pretty close to the same level, especially since Travis Kelce has just been a little underwhelming recently. Tyreek Hill has been very hot or cold. I mean, when you take the two defenses, I'm easily taking the Bills defense over the Chiefs. The Bills defense has been great. And being that their offenses are so close, it's going to be a fantastic shootout. But I think at the end of the day, because the Bills defense is definitely better than the Chiefs, their defense has just been, pretty horrific. The fact that you're in shootouts with the Eagles and losing to the Chargers and Ravens, I can definitely see the Bills pulling this one off. And so I do. I have them pulling it off 42-38. I could see it going either way, but this is going to be an absolutely crazy game. My game of the week, and I have the Bills pulling off the upset in Arrowhead. And then last but not least, our Monday Night Football game is the Colts of the Ravens. A little bit underwhelming. We've had some great Monday Night Football games the last few weeks, and this one not as so much. I mean, the Ravens, who have been playing fantastic the last few weeks, and then you have the Colts, who have not been playing fantastic the last few weeks. I mean, their only win coming against the Dolphins. To me, the Ravens pretty easily outmatch the Colts in every category. Colts definitely a worse team than the Broncos. Um, yeah, Carson Wentz he's been fine, but he's been playing some bad defenses. I have the Ravens winning this one pretty easily. I don't think that's much of a surprise. But that is going to be my Week 5 predictions for the 2021 NFL season. Like I said before, if you like the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for those videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Bye-bye. It's not goodbye, it's bye-bye.